Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to Marty the Mad Magpie. Yes, I'm here again, and just want to talk about tonight. The transfer window is now closed, slammed shut, and what do we end up with, guys? One fucking player. Joe Willock. Yes, he's a good player, and I think we've done well to get him. But I just can't get my head round the fact that we've only managed to bring him in on a £24 million price tag, and yet I'm told today that that is being paid in instalments. Instalments, for crying out loud. You know, this man who runs this football club, and I'm mentioning his name here, I feel physically sick when I mention the fat, useless cockney bastard's name, Mike Ashley. You know, this man is the tightest arsed bastard I have ever known in my life. And I use that word strongly because he is. You know, he's like Newcastle United. He's using them like a wet tea towel. He's wringing every bit of every drop of money he can get out of the club into his own pocket, and he's not putting anything back in. You know, and you'll get people saying, well, he's paid 20 million for a player and stuff like that. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But for one player, £20 million, for crying out loud. We paid £15 million for Alan Shearer back in 1996. Do you know, that was when Sir John Hall was in charge. We had to borrow the money to buy Alan Shearer because Jack Walker wanted that money there and then. £15 million, but we did it. Then this guy is quibbling over a couple of loan signings. I mean, I'm told that yesterday, the Hamza Chowdhury deal, apparently in the morning, Steve Bruce was optimistic, it was going to go through, and yeah, everything was going well. But then, of course, it's not as straightforward as the manager going to meet the player, talking about the deal, everything like that. No. It doesn't work like that in Mike Ashley's world. In fucking wanker bastard Mike Ashley. It doesn't work with that cockney arsehole. Because everything has to go through him. So Steve Bruce will say, I want Hamza Chowdhury. Then he'll go and tell Lee Charnley that he wants him. And then Lee Charnley will say to Mike Ashley, he wants Hamza Chowdhury. And apparently, Mike Ashley had to okay the deal. And I don't know what he was doing. Probably stuffing his face. Probably shoving a bloody meat pie into his north and south or something like that. And Leicester, credit to Leicester, you can't blame them, turned around and said, well, I tell you what, you've taken too long, you're not having him. And I can't blame Leicester for that. And Steve Bruce, I was very critical of him the other day, saying I want him out the door and that, and I still don't want him in charge of Newcastle United. I still don't want him as manager. But I've got to say, this guy, he said today that he was angry with the way the transfer window's been handled at Newcastle United. But the problem is that this useless tosser will not go. If it was anybody like me, as a manager of Newcastle United, well, I wouldn't be there now. But I tell you what it is, if I was there, I'd be knocking on that fat cockney bastard's door or giving him a ring and I'd be saying, right, what in God's name is going on here? Am I getting any players or am I not? And if he turned around and said to me, oh, well, sorry, Marty, you're not getting any players like we agreed because I just don't want to get you them, I'd say, right, I'm out of here. And if Steve Bruce has any dignity, he would just walk away. But he won't do that because I'll tell you why, and it was a good point made to me tonight, if Steve Bruce walks away from Newcastle United, he will not get a better job than this. That's the way he'll be thinking. I won't get another job in the Premier League. You know, but owie, Steve, have a bit of dignity, man. They're taking the piss out of you. Mike Ashley is taking the piss out of Newcastle United fans, out of the players, out of the manager, out of the city. This man, I mean, I could understand, right? I could understand penny pinching and stuff like that. I mean, let's just go back to what I said before about Sir John Hall, guys. But before I get on to that, like I say, guys, if you want to see more of me videos and more of me rants, please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of them. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the situation at Newcastle United at this moment in time. How do you feel about it? Do you feel that Newcastle United's manager should walk away? Steve Bruce should have a bit of dignity and walk away? Do you think Joe Willock was a great signing? Do you think one signing will be enough this season? Or do you think we should, like me, have maybe got a couple of loan signings in? But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's just go back to what I was saying. I'm talking about penny pinching and stuff like that. Now, let's just say that Sir John Hall was in charge of the club. Let's just say that some time ago he bought the club back off Mike Ashley and was now at the controls. Now, I know Sir John Hall, he's got money, but he hasn't got anything compared to Mike Ashley. In fact, the man is a multi-millionaire. He's not a billionaire. But let's just say Sir John Hall was in charge and he said to Steve Bruce, right, I'm sorry, Steve, I can't get you that, and that. Can I get you them players through the door? But I can get you some loan signings and I can get you some cut price deals because that's all I'm trying to sell the club and that's what I'm trying to do. Everyone would understand that because he's a multi-millionaire. But this fella, Mike Ashley, is a billionaire. He's got, at the last count, over 2 billion. He can give us what shite he likes about the bloody coronavirus pandemic and how it's affected his pocket and stuff like that. Well, it still hasn't bloody stopped his shops operating. He's still making money off them. And if he doesn't want the club, why doesn't he just get rid of it? Why doesn't he just say to somebody, right, why don't you just buy the club, come in, make me an offer, and I'll take it. And I'll tell you for why, because he's a fat, greedy, cockney bastard. That is why he doesn't want success at the club, but he wants to make money off it. And this is the hard thing to believe. If you don't want something, you get rid of it. But the man doesn't want rid of it. That's the top and bottom of it. He wants to make money, and he doesn't want to put any in. And honestly, it makes me mad that a transfer for a loan signing has to be okayed by him. And it wasn't, and he didn't get the ball over the line in time. He didn't agree to it in time. Do you know what I would have done? If I was Steve Bruce, I would have just said, right, Leicester, yeah, we're bringing him in. And I would have said to Mike, right, hand over the loan fee, I've signed him. That's what I would have done, quite honestly. But that's just me, guys. I'm Marty the Mad Magpie. Who cares what I think? I know you guys do, but Newcastle United clearly don't. Mike Ashley clearly doesn't. Because it doesn't matter. We don't matter as supporters of this football club. We don't matter. But he'll sit there taking money off the gates and putting it in his own pocket. And that is exactly what he's doing, guys. I mean, if you remember, a couple of years back, when Rafa Benitez was there, he said that Rafa Benitez, every penny that the club generates, Rafa can have for transfers. And I remember he said that. And then, come the start of the season, Rafa Benitez knocks on the door. He says, hello, Mike. How about that 75 million that the club made? Oh, well, problem with that, you see, because the running of the club comes out of that. The players' wages come out of that. Your wages come out of that. Tax, national insurance comes out of that. So there's only like 25 million left. But I need my cut. So I tell you what, there's 15 million quid. Go and get some players. No wonder Rafa Benitez walked away. And yet he got a player yesterday. He's now at Everton. Solomon Rondon brought him in on a free transfer. Yet again, there's another player we've missed out on because we've just sat around doing now. The fat bastard has just sat around doing nothing and let it slide. But the bottom of the line is we'll end up in trouble because he's not giving the backing to the managers. Like I say with Rafa Benitez, if he'd said to Rafa Benitez, oh, yeah, you're not going to get any money in January or out like that. I can only give you 20, 30 million. Rafa Benitez might be a bit pissed off. He might be a bit peeved, but he would say, oh, fair enough. Fair enough. At least I can get some players in. But he didn't say that. And he said the same to Steve Bruce last season. Any money that the club generates before the pandemic hit, 2 seasons ago. Any money the club generates, Steve, you can have. Why say that if you don't mean it? You know, why say it? I mean, that's like me saying, I tell you what, I'm going to go and buy myself a Lamborghini on Saturday. You know what I mean? I'm going to go and buy a Lamborghini. But then when push comes to shove, I look at my wallet and I've got like 20 quid. That's not going to buy me a Lamborghini. It might buy me a model of it. It's not going to buy me a Lamborghini, is it? So there you go. But then that's me saying, well, I was going to buy, but I can't do it because I haven't got enough money. Right. But at least that's the truth. Well, I come on and say, I'm not going to be able to afford one of them. You've seen the price of them. But fair enough, you'd think, well, yeah, that's the way it is. But honestly, the situation at the minute, I can understand if we had an owner who didn't have much money and was trying to get rid of the club, but trying to do what he can for the club because he cared. But this man has got a couple of billion in the bank and he doesn't give a flying fuck about Newcastle United. And that is all about it, guys. So I don't know how this man's mind works, but I can say if now we are in for a really long season here. We are going to struggle this season yet again. It's going to be a relegation battle right up to the finish. But is he bothered? No. Of course he's not bothered. Because if he cared, he wouldn't do this. I mean, there's one thing which I really could, as the owner, if he said to Steve Bruce, right, Steve, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 100 million. Now, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. This is just a point. I'm going to give you 100 million, Steve. And I want you to either win us a trophy or get us into the top 6 this season. I want you to spend that money wisely and get us into the top 6 or win us a trophy. And if you don't, I'll sack you. Fair enough. This season or next season, get us into the top 6 or win us a trophy, I'll sack you. Fair enough. Any manager would look at that and say, well, I've got that amount of money to spend. But he won't do that. But Steve Bruce is he's such a cuddle cat. He's such a bleeding fuddy-duddy, so pro Mike Ashley that he won't go and do that. He's on about, Mike's finding it tough with it. Steve, that's not your concern. That's not your concern, mate. He's the owner of the football club. You're the manager. You concentrate on the team. You tell him what players you want. Go and get them. Within a budget. But there you go. That's just the way it is. They're all the same, them guys down there. From the owner at the top down to the manager. The whole thing is rotten to the core. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to leave it there because I'm getting more and more agitated, okay? And my language is becoming a bit colourful. So I do apologise for that, but I am up a height. It has made me mad, this transfer window. Okay, guys? But I'm going to leave it there. But please, if you want to see more of my videos, feel free to subscribe to my channel, guys. And feel free to leave a comment as well. It'll be great to hear from you. What do you think of the situation at Newcastle United at the moment? Let me know, guys. I'll catch up with you soon. This is Marty the Mad Magpie. All the best to you.